You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey folks, I am Carlos of the Beans and Dice podcast. Going to be your general host, running the boards, the phones, and the sound effects for the Florida Blood Bowl podcast and call-in show. Again, James Luft, thank you for joining in. Thanks for having me.
What's
Thanks
up?
for
How's
reaching
everybody?
out to make it happen. I'm excited to
Hey,
hear
man.
about Blood Bowl and all the tournaments that are coming up. I feel like in the next 6 months, it's going to be like a mad rush of work for you as we prepare for this tournament season.
Oh yeah, always busy. It's not a bad thing.
I think we're expecting Benny K to pop in anytime. Benny, if you're if you're watching the show, you got the link. Jump in and say hi. We'll jump into some housekeeping here. Folks in the chat already popping in. Robert Eddy. If I remember correctly, Robert Eddy was out of North Carolina. I think he called into the show last time we did this. And then, of course, our man, Florida man, Chris Nelson, says, yo, yo, yo. And yay, based blood bowlers. Gotta love that guy.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, he has a Twitch stream that starts at 9:00 tonight, and he takes requests like some crazy shit like score only one lineman, or do this, or play this team, or do that, set up this way. It's gaining traction, gaining popularity. So if you're looking for something to do at 9:00 Eastern Standard Time, give his Twitch stream a try. I think he's what is he, just Florida man?
There's got to be a lot of them.
Florida
Nelson,
Blood
throw in
Bowl
the
man.
chat. Throw in the chat, Nelson. Christopher. Where do they go to see your live streams? And then Robert Eddy confirms it is correct. He is the North Carolina representative. And Florida Man says thank you. And we'll look forward to your, I guess, tell us your handle on Twitch. I think if you post a link, the YouTube's like automatically block that stuff. So maybe you can't put a link, but you might be able to put at least your handle or whatever what do they call it? I'm not a Twitch guy. I don't know what to call it.
No, me neither. We're joined by
Benny
the king of
K.
kobolds himself.
It's the fling.
How you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing, man. We're doing.
I'm running off a
just got
Wi-Fi
off work.
hotspot,
It
so
was
I might
a
not.
late day at work, and it's the first beverage of the evening. So I'm here to hang out, chat. I'm going to turn on the phone lines, too, because that's what's different about this show, folks. For you folks that are listening to this as a podcast later or following up and watching it later on YouTube's, the difference with what we do here at Beans and Dice is it's about how we game. And when we say we, it's like the everyone we, which includes you. So the difference is you can interrupt us at any time with your phone call to bring in your topics or tell us why we're wrong on ours. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines. 813-618-7099. We will take your calls so you can tell us why we're wrong or change the topic on us if you don't like what we're talking about. So, James, Benny, what we got going on?
Go ahead, Ben could start. Uh-oh. He's got some Wi-Fi issues.
Okay.
There's storms are brewing throughout Florida. His face is very animated, but I hear no audio. I don't lip read either. But just to confirm, Nelson did mention that his Florida Man Friday is how you can find him on Twitch.
Twitch, Florida Man Friday. And he's playing Blood Bowl 3?
I believe so, yeah. I know at some point he's going to get Nancy Poxleitner, who won the Games Workshop U.S. Open tournament in Kansas City last year. Her husband, Joe Poxleitner, won it this year. There's no collusion involved, I promise. They're very competitive with each other. But Chris had offered for her to come on the stream and play a match against him. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I don't know when that's going to happen. Hopefully soon.
And Ben, if you can hear us, it's saying you don't have a mic connected, so go to the settings and check the settings button and look for a mic to pick.
How about that?
There we go.
He found the right mic.
Good. So, yeah, I'm working off a Wi-Fi hotspot, so my connection's probably kind of terrible. But we got our internet got struck by lightning a couple days ago. So the
If you
joys
want,
of
you
Florida.
can turn off the
right?
camera and leave the mic on. That might give you better bandwidth for the audio. That way your audio will come in cleaner.
Sure.
We will do what we
Sure.
got.
See
to
what
get it
that
right.
does. Can you hear me
The
better?
audio's much better. Audio's much better.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, yeah, we were just the Chaos Cup. I think that's what we're most excited to talk about today. And some great times. We've been having some great tournaments, but this is a opportunity to invite other people from outside of Florida to come and enjoy what makes Florida so interesting. One of the many things. I guess I'm chomping at the bit to talk about it. So I want to turn it over to James to talk a little bit about that to start.
Chaos Cup.
Okay. Yeah. Well, as many of you are aware or may not be aware, we recently extended. We had a cap of 204 coaches, and we capped it now at 220. We're able to get a little bit more room at the hotel, the conference center, which is excellent, which is amazing. And I went over there to kind of just finalize some of the details with them. Ken Parks came over there with me, and that was all fantastic news, really. We did
I booked my
TKC there.
room and it was seamless. Seamless.
Good.
Easy.
That's what I like to hear, because the rooms will periodically run out as they keep adding them to the room block. And then if they're gone, the number should be on the website. If not, then just reach out to me and I'll help you out. But if you call them and just tell them that you're part of the Chaos Cup block rate, then you should be able to get that discount. But after we did TKC there at the same place, it was kind of like a good opportunity to kind of get the lay of the land and see how we were going to run things for Chaos Cup. And after I run every big event, I tend to do a survey to get feedback anonymously from people so they could be as, harsh as they want to be without, putting a face to their commentary. And we got a lot of feedback. And the good news is we addressed a lot of those issues, which I don't know if you'd call them issues, but we addressed a lot of the feedback, and we're going to make those things happen for Chaos Cup. We're actually going to have some food available there rather than having none. So this way, people who don't have the ability to be able to travel out for lunch will be able to take advantage of concessions there throughout the day on Saturday and Sunday. We're going to have a bar right outside of the gameplay area Friday night for Sean Cowley's Sevens Icebreaker, all day Saturday, and for a little limited time on Sunday, which is going to be huge. This way, everybody doesn't have to go to the bar area. I think they're going to have 3 specially concocted drinks for us. We're going to put together like a small drink menu, maybe do something like, Chaos Cup Crushers, who knows, maybe Lord Borax Brew, just something fun, to set the mood, set the tone. Let's see what else. There was a few other things.
You sold me. You sold me.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good selling point for Ben. We played on 6-foot tables. So the neoprene pitches from Maelstrom Gaming Mats, our good friend Jack Petruccia from Canada, from Alberta. We were able to put 2 of those pitches on the table, on the 6-foot tables. They fit just enough, and there was no room for anything else. We're going to upgrade to the 8-foot tables. This way we'll have some elbow room and be able to put our gear up there on the table as well. I'm trying to think of what else, like really quick. But it was great. Everything that we kind of came at them with, like, hey, could we do all this? They were like, yes, you could do all that. We're going to make registration as easy as possible. They actually gave us like a registration area from, I don't know if you remember, from Crucible. There was like a registration desk. They said, you guys can utilize that. And then we're going to have Jack set up as a vendor right across the hall. So this way people come.
He's actually going to be in town?
He is coming to Chaos Cup. Yep.
We get to actually shake a hand.
Oh, yeah. We're very excited to have him. And I think Jeff is also coming to Chaos Cup, who ran it in Chicago. So aside from a lot of coaches that we typically see at Chaos Cup, like I'm beside myself. Like in a World Cup year, we were all excited if we broke 100. And here we are at 220. We're 2 coaches away from hitting that mark, and we got 100 days left to register. So I think we're going to see that happen. So between, Jeff coming and having Jack there, and it hasn't been announced yet, but we might as well announce it here while we have you. Beans and Dice podcast is going to be at Chaos Cup to record the top table matches. It's going to be live streamed for all those people who can't make it. So that's another huge thing. So I'm thrilled to have you there with us as well.
I'm super excited about that part. I had so much fun at TKC in the one at in Cocoa Beach that we did.
Yeah.
Where
Yep.
you know my job was just stream from the tables and do the whole ESPN Ocho style announcements and just like play by play. I had a great time doing it. So when you brought it up as an idea for Chaos Cup, a much bigger event than the TKC event, like I was like talking to Wifey, we made it happen. We booked the room. We're going to be out there, and I'm going to be able to bring the equipment, set up the table, and provide that live stream of top table matches, which we might flop it. I think what I learned is some people tend to stick at the top table sometimes. You know, Josh or Nelson might double up a few times up there. So I'd rather maybe hit a couple different levels of table, highlight maybe a lower level table as well. It's just going to be a highlight table, right? That will have certain matches on, and hopefully I'll have some guests that throughout the day will be able to join me to help announce those games, those matches. But that's the plan and that's the goal, and I'm excited.
So am I. Yeah, we're going to have some people there who may just be hanging out. Like we have a dedicated ringer. So if he ends up playing, great. That's Tombstone Frank out of Jacksonville, the Northeast Florida.
He joined me, I think, for one match. For about half of it, he joined me and commentated. It was great.
Nice. Jason York isn't going to be playing. He's going to be helping me to ensure that the event runs as smoothly as it possibly can. So he'll have some availability to give some commentary on some matches. And you never know who else is going to show up. So it should be.
I'm still trying to get you in there. I know you're a busy man, but at least get
I'll
you
be
in there.
Don't worry.
For maybe a few turns.
Absolutely. I look forward to that. But yeah, November will be here before we know it. You know, what can I say other than thank you to all the coaches who signed up. I think you're going to love coming to Florida and playing some Blood Bowl. We have 88 Florida Blood Bowl coaches that are going out to Chaos Cup. So it took only having a NAF major in Florida to make that happen. You know, we've been trying for years to get to unite the clans and bring all the Florida Blood Bowl coaches to one spot. And I think this finally did it. So.
But, Robert really Eddie says North Carolina crew is coming to Florida. So that's in the chat.
Yeah, we got a lot of good representation. 33 states, I think, 4 different countries. But the big shocker was Texas. Man, they really turned out in numbers, in droves. I think they're up to like 18 coaches. Texas got a huge amount. North Carolina did. Really quick, I'm just going to hop over and take a look. But the other thing I just want to mention, really quick, and I'm sure Ben has some touching points to talk about, is we have some Games Workshop events coming up. We just did one in Kansas City, which went over really big. We only had 16 coaches for that event, where last year we had close to 40. But I think we had a little bit less attendance this year because we have 2 more events coming up. One in Tacoma, Washington, which is going to be huge with the Pacific Northwest Blood Bowl crew up there, Jason Weaver, and a lot of those guys. I think we have 40 plus for that tournament. And then we happen to have one in Tampa, Florida, 2 weeks before Chaos Cup. Right. So that's part of Games Workshop's U.S. Open event. It tripled from last year. We had 1 Blood Bowl event all year. This year we have 3. Hopefully next year we have more, but it continues to grow, which is a good thing. And, when I'm out at these events, of course, I'm going to mention, hey, the NAF U.S. Major is going to be Chaos Cup in Florida. So you all should come out and have a good time with us. It'd be well worth your visit. Let me see here really quick. I'm looking. All right, here we go. So yeah, we started tracking, who all's coming from where. So 88 coaches from Florida, 6 from Georgia, 9 from Mississippi, which is they're part of our Voodoo Tournament Series area, 5 from North Carolina, 6 from Ohio, 11 from South Carolina, 19 from Texas, 5 from Washington, 4 from Virginia, and then we got coaches coming from Canada, the Philippines, Sweden, and England. So I'm over the moon. That's fantastic.
It's international now. We've gone international.
Yeah. Chaos Cup's always been.
Will the GW event in Tampa also be a Voodoo event? Are you crossing those over?
That's a good question. Usually most events that we have in Florida our Chaos Cup is not going to be a Voodoo event. It's going to be focusing just on that US NAF major alone, at least as far as Jason York and I. Jason runs the Voodoo tournament series, and I just kind of help him along. But I don't know. At a guess, I'd say probably. It's a pretty typical rule set. There's nothing out of the ordinary about that, and it is in Florida. But yeah, it's a good question. I'll have to talk to Jason about that and get a definitive answer for you. But no, great question.
Robert Eddy talks about himself and Dooney are thinking about going to Tampa, so the GW national event here in Tampa, which I believe is the week of October 15th.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Highly packed week for me. I had 4 events that I had planned on going this year, and they all ended up on that same weekend.
Yeah, October and November are crazy busy for me. I have a lot of not only Blood Bowl, but also extracurriculars outside of Blood Bowl, concerts and
right. I got the
whatnot.
race in Atlanta. I've got SOBO, the Southern Board Game Fest out of Louisiana, which we went last year, and it was amazing. Just think Creole food and board games. It's just, you can't get any better. And then here, the Blood Bowl tournament in Tampa. So it's like, decisions have to be made. It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, that Tampa event is the Friday Night Icebreaker. We're going to run 7s on October 13th, Friday the 13th, go figure. Then the event is a 2-day 6-round event on October 14th and 15th. But yeah, between now and then, there's a lot of Florida Blood Bowl events coming up. I'm just going to run down the list really quick, and then we'll get back to Ben here. But we have one coming up on July 1st. Armada Games presents Stew for the Crew. I'm going to be running that event for Michael at Armada. That should be a fun one where we have a special chef on the pitch that has some abilities. So check that one out. And if you're able to, then hop on over.
And I believe there's an actual chili cook-off thing going on too.
Yes.
Like there's going to be at least food.
4 people that are making their own homemade chili, so there'll be a little bit of a cook-off there, and I'm
gonna be a great time to be in close proximity with our best Blood Bowl friends, right?
Absolutely. Then we have one in Pensacola, Jimmy Woodard's. I think it's his 5th one, the Quest for the Grail-shaped trophy. That's always a good event. For the other side, I mean, it's Florida, but literally it's like almost Alabama. It's all the way in the Gulf, so it's a jaunt for us. But he gets people from Mississippi, he gets people from Alabama, and he gets some of the Florida crew. So that's a good opportunity to kind of mix it up with some coaches you don't normally play. We got a tournament at Get Your Fun On that Nick Cassavant is going to be running. It's Summer Smackdown. That's July 29th. Then we're back to Mobile, Alabama for Carnival 5, the Chaos Waste Trios. That's a team event that's going to be run by Mr. Don Morgan. That's August 19th. That's going to be a fun one. Ken Parks is running Stunny Slam, the one with the giant budget. That's going to be August 26th, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be moving locations, and that venue is going to be announced real soon. It's going to be a big surprise for everybody. A lot of excitement about that one, but I will wait for the proper moment to spread the love about that one. Then the Strange Realms over in Tampa is going to have its first Blood Bowl tournament on September 9th. That's for all those people.
It's Barry Kritzer's stomping grounds.
Yes, for all those coaches who aren't going to World Cup. I mean, we have a bunch, Ben included, and hopefully we'll talk about that in a few minutes, that are going over to Alicante, Spain. That's going to be an experience and a half. But for those of you who are not going, we do have a Blood Bowl tournament here for you in Florida, and that would be on September 9th at Strange Realms. Then we have the GW Tampa event, and we have, what else? Chaos Cup, which, again, you know, I'm so excited for it, and it's going to be huge. And you would think that would be the last big event of the year, but then we have Ancient City Barrel Bash 5. That's going to be Clay Hare's tournament that he's been running successfully for numerous years, and that's going to be in Jacksonville. Another one to Get Your Fun On in December. It's going to be centered around Krampus. Nick is running as well. And I think that's it for this year. So we still got quite a bit left to go. Big ones and little ones. It's going to be a good rest of the year. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say a funny note on Ancient City Barrel Bash. That was the largest tournament, I think, for a little while. For a short amount of time that was in Florida. I think he ended up getting like 60-something people. And that was one of the biggest tournaments for a little while until, you know, things started
Yeah, I don't remember
growing,
the exact
but
number, but he had quite a bit. And I think it was did he run that as a sevens event that year? Or was it an 11s?
yeah,
But either
yeah, it
way,
was a sevens event. I remember that we all packed into a brewery. It was awesome. I don't remember the end of it, but I
yeah,
remember the beginning.
Ancient City. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised you don't remember the end of it. But that was at Ancient City Brewing, and before they filled up their
Nelson
outside
says
area with equipment.
sevens,
Yeah,
42
Nelson
players.
got wrecked, I think, at that tournament. And
That's why he remembers
I
it
have
so
a
well.
I have a picture of him. Right, so he wrote, or somebody wrote, "Get wrecked" on his arm in Sharpie. That was a quite the
Yeah.
memorable event. But yeah, they filled their outside oak play area up with like equipment so they can brew beer, which is what they do. But when it was open, boy, that was they had pool tables out there and so many benches and live music. Like, it was a great place to have a Blood Bowl tournament. Now it's they're still accommodating to us. We had a Thanksgiving food drive fundraiser that Chris Nelson ran there. I think it was Turkey Tussle or Turkey Brawl, and they were so welcoming to have us back. But there's just not a lot of room there. So we're always trying new venues and going to new places. It's one of the things I love about Florida Blood Bowl, whether we playing at a game store or a conference center or a brewery, or camping outside and playing under a pavilion. We've done it all.
We're playing in the food court of the mall.
Oh yeah, we've done that too.
Yeah, I remember those pictures, playing on those small tables.
Yeah, that was a good time. That's what happens when the game store doesn't open. You know what? We're playing in the food court, and it was all fun and games until somebody fell into the river in the food court,
Well, I'm sorry.
chasing after dice.
Ay, Dios mío. I can't even.
that led to a whole.
My bad
whole bunch
connection
of
got
bad stuff.
worse. Sorry, guys. I have a little weather over here.
Yeah, I hear.
Yeah,
the
we
weather's
have it
coming
here
through.
too. Yeah. Well, we're already a half an hour into. We got to wrap up a little early tonight, so we're going to be doing this till 7:00. So, Ben, is there anything you want to touch on before we start talking to some people on the phone?
Hopefully, somebody will call in.
Yeah,
Make it a
yeah. There
call-in
were a
show.
few things, one of the things first of all, I'm excited to go to Spain, right? And that's going to be awesome. World Cup is going to be amazing. And we'll probably cram another show in before World Cup comes around so that we can kind of talk a little bit about that. Maybe we can have a couple of the other guys that are going on Team Florida come out and talk a little bit about what they're doing and what they're prepping for. I've kind of been excited just to kind of call out to the World Cup Alicante podcast too. They've been doing a good job of just kind of going over some of the team rosters and just making it fun, So I would listen to those on Monday morning on my drive to work, and I kind of get a little amped up for going over there. But Chaos Cup has kind of dominated the Florida, because a lot of people aren't going to be able to go to Alicante. So Chaos Cup has dominated kind of our different things. But I think that we should put out that the Florida coaches should try to, remember to bring something to give out to your guests of honor that are coming to visit us. And so I think we're gonna have a lot of people that have never traveled to a bigger tournament before coming out from Florida, which is awesome. Right. And just kind of remember that some of the bigger tournaments, there's like a little bit of a gift giving culture. And if you have leftover tournament dice from a tournament that you've run, or you've got something that you've worked on, stickers or, whatever, dice, of course, are popular. It would not hurt to bring those things out and give those out to your opponents as you play them throughout Chaos Cup, and just make the experience for those who traveled all the way to Florida to come play just a little bit more pleasant and memorable, right?
Absolutely. It's a great idea.
So that was one of my things. And then I didn't know if we were waiting for some calls. I don't know if anybody's on the line or not.
No, the phone will ring. We'll hear it, and I'll bring him on. I know we've had a lot of comments in the chat,
Awesome.
which has been nice. And a lot of people aren't big on the call-in aspect, but I love giving that opportunity to be a part of the show, not just a comment in the chat.
Well, Ben, I know something else you could talk
Absolutely.
about is one of the.
I think that the tournament build is pretty good. I think.
I think there's
Sorry,
a
I'm
little bit of
I'm like a
delay there.
3-second lag. So as soon as you start talking, I start talking.
Naturally. Why don't you talk about the raffle team that you're organizing for Chaos Cup?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so well, of course there are a couple of different raffle teams that are going to be available for people that come to put a raffle ticket in, and I believe all of our profits from that are going to be going towards the Wolfson's Children's Hospital, I believe.
Yep, based out of Jacksonville.
which is a children's hospital in Jacksonville. Yes. So that's really cool. And one of the things that so one of the teams is going to be done by Josh Wojcik, one of our resident painting experts over here, who does a lot of commissions for people across the country, across the world, I guess. And he's going to be doing another team. He did, I think he's done teams for several years, actually, in a row.
Yeah, he has.
That he puts up. He paints them for free, and then he, then the raffle benefits these charities. Another team, for those who haven't heard, and most of you that are familiar with Chaos Cup have seen this done in the past, but we're going to be doing a legacy team as well. And then a legacy team, put simply, a bunch of different coaches, and everybody paints them, and it just makes into this cobbled up team that in theory would be all crazy looking, but in practice makes just a really unique, one of a kind team that is one of the ultimate mementos that you can take home with you from Chaos Cup. So I believe we have a list somewhere. There's quite a bit of people that have signed up to take this time. It's lizard men. So we had a bunch of sauruses and skinks and chameleon skinks and things like that. I think there's still a couple of slots to fill, if I'm right.
Yeah, there's a few. And we have that list on the Discord channel. So if you're not on the Discord channel, the link is posted under the Chaos Cup event. Jump on there. A lot of the coaches commiserate in there daily. So if you're looking for any information about Chaos Cup rules or toys, whatever things to do in Orlando, you could find it on the Discord. But that list that Ben's talking about is on there. It's also on the Chaos Cup website, and it's also on Facebook. So there's still a few slots left.
The Discord can be found on the Chaos Cup website.
It could be found on Facebook. I should really put that on the Chaos Cup website for those who don't use social media.
It's on the Facebook at minimum.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the Discord channel actually is a really good idea, and I like that a lot. That is going to be used not only for some prepping, but I think we're also going to use that to try to disseminate information during the event. So while there's matchups and pairings and things like that, James will be pushing those things out to the Discord so that people can see that information right away. So you don't have to huddle around a screen or wait for a printout to come out. So yeah, if you haven't gotten on that already, I do recommend that. And then it's a great way to meet some of the people that you're going to be playing against or playing with at Chaos Cup and getting a little advanced scouting about that.
We want to embrace the technology a little bit. There's been talk about using the televisions, which has been used classically at Chaos Cup for rounds and pairings. We've had a lot of people recommend using a projector based off of TKC. So we're going to lean into the Discord a little bit. It doesn't take me less than a minute.
Even if someone doesn't have the Discord, I'm certain 75% of the players there will. So they'll be able to show their opponent who they just played. Here's the new pairings. Here's where you are. Find a buddy. At minimum, find a buddy who's got an access to a smartphone, and I'm sure they'll be able to show you what your next pairing is.
We'll be using Score for Chaos Cup. I know a lot of people were asking about Tour Play. And tour play is great, don't get me wrong, but for an event this big where they don't have live support, if anything goes awry, I'd rather avoid that and try and run as smooth a tournament as I possibly can. So we will be using Score. And if you've used Score, then you know there's a presentation mode where you can see the pairings, and that's how Chaos Cup historically has done it. There's also a way where you can generate a report. So I'll be generating that report and then posting that report in Discord so that you can easily zoom in, look for your name, look for your team, look for your opponent, look for your table number with relative ease. And I'm not saying that we still might not be utilizing a TV in the back of the room or a projector at some point, but at least I just wanted to make it known now, like Ben said, we're going to be leaning into using the Discord as we get more and more coaches who are utilizing it leading up to Chaos Cup.
Right. And there was this crazy guy when we did the Savannah Bowl who brought Super Smash Brothers to play at lunch, on the TV.
That.
Yeah, so maybe we could do that. We'll see what's going on. I might bring that again. But no, I think that don't forget. Yeah, don't forget it's Florida. Bring your bathing suit, jump in the pool. I did that at TKC. The pool is probably 15 steps away from where we're going to be. You can jump in, dry off, come back in, and you'll be ready to go again. Nice, refreshing Florida afternoon.
Yeah, that's true. You can't do that at every Blood Bowl tournament. Well, Ben, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited to hear a lot of different things. Oh, we've got somebody here.
We do have a caller on the line. Ken, out of Orlando.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
What's up, buddy?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you guys all doing?
We are well.
Doing good.
Working
Riding
through the
out
weather.
the storm.
We're doing the best we can through the weather.
I hear that. So, yeah, we got Chaos Cup coming up. Looking forward to that. We got a great crew working that, led by glorious leader there.
I don't know who that is.
Got a lot of stuff going on good there. I've seen some of the goodies. It's great. I'm not telling you anything else beyond that.
If Jack's got anything to do with the goodies, I'm sure they're going to be great.
I have been sworn to secrecy on pain of worse surgery.
NDAs activate.
So I'm liking what we've got going on with Florida this year. We've got a lot of great events that we're really going to help us out with, because we got Chaos Cup. You got US Open coming up. I'm hoping we're going to start seeing even our local tournaments getting bigger and bigger to that 30 or 40 point, where we're seeing even what's supposed to be the small event, the small sevens event, just grow.
Yeah, all of our events are growing.
Okay.
What are the plans with the Chaos Cup for the proliferary events, the events around the main event? Usually there's always some kind of a tournament, extra event, Saturday night event, Friday night event. What's the plans for that? Parker, are you in on any of that?
So I was with James the other day when we went over to the hotel and spoke to them. There is going to be a Friday night icebreaker. I do believe it's going to be the traditional sevens event that is every Chaos Cup in the past. But, we are going to have food on site on Saturday and Sunday as well, and there's going to be a bar there during the icebreaker on Friday and Saturday. As far as the actual event details, that is being run by another gentleman. James, who's that again?
Sean Calley's running the Friday night icebreaker event. Hello.
So yeah, like I said, sorry, it's weird delay.
Weather everywhere, man.
Yeah. There's going to be some stuff on Saturday night too.
Tonight.
Yep.
Well, the good news is only got 25
What
minutes,
kind of stuff?
So we'll get through it. Well, when Jason York and Eric and I went out to Nashville to meet with Jeff to get some of the Chaos Cup stuff like the trophy. We played a game called Goblin Knife Fights, which was a lot of fun. We were using the Death Bowl pitch. So basically you get in there and stab your opponents and be the last goblin standing. And we may have used the ball. I don't even remember, but it was a lot of fun. So I'm sure somebody will have those rules cobbled together, and we may throw a couple of those matches on the tables, which promises to be a good time, especially when there's alcohol involved.
Remember when Roger Bowl used to be so popular?
Still
I
popular.
was just saying, that's like we've got our next Roger Bowl.
We'll do some
We were
Roger
in
Bowl.
sync.
Definitely want to do some. I asked
Benny and I both have like one brain cell each, and we lend them out to each other occasionally.
Rub them together. You might get one.
left brain, right brain. But I did ask Old Man Monkey, Jim Lanier. I said, "Hey, how do you feel about running triple skulls for over 200 people?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." So
I think in the way you said it is exactly how I would hear Jim say it.
Yep.
Like that's exactly the tone and the like cadence of how he would say it.
And I could see his face when you did it. It was that perfect.
It was spot on.
One of the highlights of Safari Bowl that we did in Savannah was getting to go out on Saturday night for Jim's birthday. And, many more people wanted to attend, and it was just, all the restaurants could only accommodate so many people. But I want to say there were 20 some of us who went. But seeing him in his element, surrounded by, all of his friends, that memory sticks out in my mind as one of the best ones. And being able to spend time with him like that, I got to do a pretty good impersonation of Jim. So I hear his voice and Pat Wynn. I hear their voices in my mind. They're usually my good conscience, and then I hear Eric Nyberger on the other shoulder telling me to do dumb shit.
Like the evil end up on the roof of the hotel, right?
Wait, I don't know what you're talking about.
We admit to nothing
What hotel?
here.
Yeah, what
no
roof?
idea what you're talking about.
Nope, no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Never happened.
Dangerous nights.
Taddy needs a daddy.
Daddy needs a
I need an
daddy.
adult.
That's why.
I need an adult stat.
We have a few adults
So
at Florida Blood Bowl
if I could
tournaments. We have
throw out
few.
a shameless plug real quick.
Sure.
So Stunty Slam is coming back up. It's going to be August 25th. There is still about a week left to register with a discount for 20 instead of 25. Good chance this will be the first event at the new BGL and Brevard Game Lounge.
Oh, yeah, that was the thing that I wasn't going to mention until everybody was ready for it to be mentioned.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I mean,
I missed
Two
all
people
of that.
listening to this
Sorry,
right now
guys, I
will-
missed all of that.
yeah, that's okay. The 3 people we have listening will now know. So hopefully they don't spread the word until everybody's ready.
Well, they just can't know that you and I bought the store and are going to run it as our secret love child.
Yeah, like that would be there's a saying about having too much on your plate. That would literally be like dumping the trough on my plate. I mean, that's everybody's dream, isn't it? To run a game store and have it be successful. But man, it's a lot of work. If Michael Fortino was here right now, he would tell you.
Oh yeah. We had a
I want
guest
I wanna
yesterday
work
on
for a
our
game
show
store.
who owned a game store, Your Turn Cafe. Dan, the owner of Your Turn Game Store.
Which is a great game store. If you haven't been there, that's over
He
in
was
Zephyr Hills.
Yeah, but they shut down.
No.
Right. So he talked about that. He
What?
talked about the amount
When?
of effort, work, and energy this past month. And he still owns the
Wow.
building, right? They're just going to rent it out for other stuff. It's just
That's
the amount
horrible.
of work it takes to run a game shop is no joke. Like you talk about it, it will
No, it's
suck the
not.
joy of gaming out of you.
And they opened during COVID and survived
Yes.
the pandemic. So
We
here we are,
hosted the first event that they had post pandemic. That was their first big event. Was the one that we hosted when we did the Sevens tournament there.
that was your tournament. That was the
Yeah, the Beans and Dice
tournament, right?
Beans and Dice Bowl.
And we were so worried because they closed that store for us So no other customers were allowed to come in. And I remember you and I were packing up at the end of the night. And I said to Dan, I said, hey, please tell me you guys did well today. And he said, you guys spent so much money. He said, this was our most successful day financially since we opened. And that made me feel so good. But it's a little too late now, obviously. But talk about a store that had so much room, so many games, food, drinks, some canned alcohol. I mean, that's a great place to spend a day with your family, with your friends, playing a game, and to see it. Wow, man, that just that like ruined my night.
But all of that work that
Wait. Are you talking about your turn?
Yeah, your turn. All that work that we helped them buy the building, though, right? So the guy's in a much better place
Oh, that's good.
than he was beforehand. So he owns the building now, but the amount of work it takes to run a game shop, a game store, a game cafe, it's just not worth it when you are a board game lover. You never play. You never get to enjoy time with your friends because you're always working. So yeah, don't do it. Don't listen to Michael Fortino. If you want to suck the joy out of gaming, own a game shop.
Yeah, I get that. Well, then let me be not the first, but let me be one of many to say thank you. If Dan happens to hear this, or him and his family and his team, because just want to say thank you for allowing us to come there and play games, Blood Bowl, and for having us there, and it was a tremendous place to go play games, and I'm so sad to see it go. You never know what the future holds. Maybe one day he'll be able to turn that around and do something else. But
well, he's still going to do Your Turn Con, so they're still working on, because we did Your Turn Con this past year, a convention there. So he's still going to host that. The plan is to redo another Your Turn Con because he still has access to the building. It's still his building. So there's still going to be gaming going on. It's just he's not going to be in that daily grind. He's shown up, I think, 4 or 5 times now to my house for Thursday night call-in show and gaming, pre-show gaming. So now he's actually out and playing games, enjoying life, like it used to be before he owned a game shop. So, Parks, don't do it.
I don't want to be a game store owner. I'll work for a game store, but I ain't owning it.
There you go. Smart.
Well, I got you all here. I had a topic that I wanted to bring up. And I know, we're about 15 minutes out to the end of the show, but how is Gutter Ball, the introduction of new Gutter Ball, going to meld into what y'all have going on plans-wise 2024, right? Is it something unlike Dungeon Bowl, maybe, which is so long of a game, so very niche within the niche of Blood Bowl? But do you see Gutter Ball taking a place like Sevens does? Talk about Gutter Ball.
It depends on what they do with it, because I think it's going to be similar to Street Bowl, which Street Bowl's fine, and I mean, it's not my favorite, but it's fine. Certain teams dominate, but the same can be said for Sevens. So I think it'll depend on how they balance it. It'll depend on what they do with it. I prefer Dungeon Bowl to any of the other variants because I think it's just so different that it's fun. But I've seen Sevens and Street becoming less popular, and people will not show up to events because they're Sevens or Streets. So people have kind of started to avoid those, which is kind of unfortunate. What do you do?
Robert Eddy says
that's my thoughts.
Yeah, Robert Eddy says Street Ball is my favorite Sevens.
Maybe he's a dwarf
I don't
coach.
Speak for GW. he is a dwarf coach.
Unabashedly.
He is a dwarf coach. Yeah, unabashedly. I don't speak for GW when I say this, but these are just my opinions on the matter.
I love the disclaimer.
It's going to come down to the NAF. I mean, if it's enough like Street Ball, where it's Street Ball and it's just rebranded as Gutter Ball, and the mechanics are the same, then I'm sure it'll just end up, being plugged as Street Ball on the NAF. If it's something else entirely different, I don't know what kind of popularity it'll see. If it's so different like Blitz Bowl, where you had pockets, but there aren't, like NAF hasn't adopted Blitz Bowl. So you have your lovers of Blood Bowl who are going to come out to a tournament, and they'd rather spend their time playing something that's NAF regulated and NAF ranked, for their stats, or however you want to say it. So it depends on really and no one's seen it yet. I think maybe the Both Down guys may get a review copy before anybody else. So they'd probably be the first ones to go check out and listen to and see if they get anything ahead of the curve. But I think it's going to come down to that. But if it's like Street Bowl and it's just called Gutter Bowl, I'll be honest. I think that there are some people who like the variance, and for this reason alone, is you could play a game in an hour and you could get 4 or 5 rounds in a tournament. And I think it may not have the popularity of 11s, standard Blood Bowl, but you're going to have people who like it. They're like Robert Eddy said, it's his favorite. Wow, 109 games played with dwarves. I guess he doesn't mean Street Bowl. That's just
well,
overall.
that's why.
Yeah, but you're going to get people who like every variant. We have people who like Dungeon Bowl. We have people who like Death Bowl. We have people who like sevens and street. It's just, going to be small pockets of it here and there. But, really quick, while we're talking about all these variants, for those who don't know, Josh Wojcik just ran, and Ben was there so he can elaborate. But he just ran a tournament where he incorporated Street Bowl for the first 2 rounds, sevens for the second 2 rounds, and then it culminated in an 11s match for the 5th round for his Knuffles Wild Blood Bowl tournaments. And they ran that at Punk Outer Games in Gainesville. And he had, I think, 24 coaches show up for the event. So it had a good turnout. And from what I saw, everybody had a great time. But Ben could elaborate a little bit more on that really quick.
Oh, absolutely. I ended up taking the Stunty Cup, so I'm very proud of that. No, it was cool. And, he always tries to put a little extra layer of effort into his tournaments. There was an element where if you dressed up in some kind of Caesar's Palace theme, you were able to foul, additional times as opposed to a limited amount of times if you hadn't. There was an award for being polite. You had to kind of role play overly polite Roman senator or something. So there was some fun aspects to that. I think we should do it again. I do think that there's another format there that, taking the same team from sevens to streets to 11s to Dungeon Bowl to, Death Bowl, take it to every format and see who does well. And I think there's potential there, but it was just a cool event and, people had fun. So plus the venue Punk Outer has been pretty cool with us. They are a really, fairly new venue, but they seem to be pretty cool. They, they want us there. They don't mind us dominating their entire play area all day and drinking beer and having fun. So what can you say about that, right?
Yeah, that Punk Outer is a
Any
great
thoughts?
venue.
Yes, I love Punk Outer. I've been up there for Hurricane Bowl. I think that gaming cafe model is a great model if you can get it to work. It's just, you got to have to step away from Magic to do it a lot of times because you got to sell beer. But Magic is bread and butter for the game shops, and that's what kills it.
Yeah, and I heard there was some
You
kind
get the
of
drink and the food there.
You got to diversify as a game store. You got to have everything. There's a game store in Marietta, Georgia, Gigabytes Cafe, and they
it's a
are a
great
shining
spot.
star.
I've been
That
there
is
a few times.
It's an epic store where you have so much room. You have
And
all
they
the
have
games.
Florida beers. They got Tampa
Florida
beers
beers.
there. Yep.
They
Cigar City.
got food and they got
I
beers.
was able to
So it-
drink my tears away after losing.
we
You have no
took a
reason to
trip up
leave.
there just to play, and it was great. It was a great store. I'd go back. I still have store credit. What's cool with that store is when you win a tournament or something, they give you store credit in the form of like coins, little tokeny things. And it's cool. I just kept one as a little memento, but I'm like, could go back up there and spend it anytime.
Yeah, I have a feeling we'll be
Little-
back up there.
Little details,
So I'll throw out a shameless plug too, and it's for 2 things actually, because we don't have them here on the show. But we have 2 huge events coming up early 2024. If you haven't heard about it by now, Don's been spreading the gospel. Don Morgan out of Gainesville. He's running the first Blood Bowl cruise. It's a sevens run event, but it is not, the cruise itself is not primarily Blood Bowl. you're going to be playing, I think, every other day. So there's going to be port days where you get off the boat and go and do stuff. It's a family-oriented event. You're more than welcome to bring your wife, your kids, your friends, whatever you want to do. But it's the perfect combination of a cruise and Blood Bowl and a vacation. So that's coming up, I think, in February of 2024. And the other one is we had great success with, even though it took me like 4 years to get it off the ground, when we did Safari Bowl in Savannah. Basically, that was set up as a destination Blood Bowl where we pick somewhere, and then we all congregate, we migrate there, we caravan there, and we show up and have a good time. And we started setting up the second one, which is going to be in March 2024, and that's going to be in New Orleans.
Oh,
and yep, Brad Lamphere is running point on that because he is one of the Mississippi coaches and knows the lay of the land there really well. So we're all very excited about that. I'm just kind of helping him with, this, that, and the other thing, but that's mostly going to be on him. The game story has already been found. I'm just looking up the details because I don't have them at the top of my head really quick, but let me see if I could find them before.
Yeah, I mentioned my trip last year to Louisiana for the convention, the board game convention. We started with a couple nights in New Orleans where my buddy Rob, my co-host, and I got to walk the French Quarter, do all the cafes, the World War II Museum, and we did our show, Thursday night show, right from the hotel in the French Quarter. Then we got to go to Bourbon Street. I got faced on Bourbon Street. It was amazing. Came back and played more games till I fell asleep. So that Louisiana trip was amazing. That's going to be fun for you. You guys are going to go nuts.
It's going to be a plus one
gaming. Have to give babysitters to certain individuals.
The food is amazing there, though. And the people are so polite in Louisiana. Like, the people were so kind to us in Louisiana. It was amazing.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And then after that, there was like, for me, being involved in these events, I think for the first couple of years, we kind of wanted to keep it within our Voodoo Tournament Series states, which is Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Louisiana, Tennessee, and I always forget. There's always one that I forget, Georgia. So we did Georgia to start because Savannah was just a city that I've loved, and I've been there several times. And shockingly enough, they really don't have a Blood Bowl community, and they have a few game stores. Georgia has coaches. They'll play at Gigabytes and a few other stores in Georgia, but there was no community in Savannah. So that kind of attracted me to that, thinking, well, maybe we can go there, promote it, and who knows, maybe, they'll end up with a decent Blood Bowl community there. But New Orleans was, for me, the next logical pick. And there is a huge Blood Bowl community there called Little Wars, and they have like 20 plus 30 coaches, give or take. And they don't really do NAF tournaments. They do their Blood Bowl league. So I'm hoping this is the incentive, with a tournament, a NAF tournament, a big one like this right in their backyard for them to come out, and represent their league and get to know some of the Mississippi and Florida and Alabama Blood Bowl coaches, and, hopefully make some new friends and want to make that next Blood Bowl trip outside of their comfort zone. But we got a lot of feedback after Safari to do one in Tennessee. So we're kind of looking at Tennessee for 2025, maybe Chattanooga, maybe Nashville. There's a lot of great places. I love Tennessee. I don't foresee myself leaving Florida anytime soon, but if there was ever a reason, like if it falls off and goes into the ocean, then Tennessee would be where I would be going next. I absolutely love everything about Tennessee. It reminds me of living in Pennsylvania. It reminds me of being in the South, but it's got the best of both worlds, if you ask me.
Talking about Tennessee, I've taken the family to many, many moons ago. We did trips up there to the cabins, like in Pigeon Forge. You can get a huge cabin. You get a huge cabin for cheap, and there's plenty of space. You just bring folding tables, and there's always
that was mentioned.
Yeah, most of those cabins up there have these huge, like, wraparound decks, right? Multi-level wraparound decks, and you could play outside because the weather's so nice out there. That'd be crazy. Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge.
Nelson's mentioning in the chat. He's like, over here talking about Tennessee and looking like a Civil War general.
And that's where I did some Civil War tours through there. The Chickamauga battle site, loved going there and learning about that. I do a lot of wargaming, all kinds of wargaming.
Well, there was a huge tournament in Tennessee that Roscoe Piercy put on, Great Smoky Mountain Bowl. And he's dipping his toes back into the Blood Bowl waters, and I hope he resurrects that tournament. That was such a fun event, and he got coaches from all around the surrounding areas. And I really enjoyed going to Tennessee and playing Blood Bowl. I did that tournament twice, and I met some people when Eric, Jason, and I went to Nashville. Ken Bergen, and a few other people, and they really have some great coaches out there. I could see them totally having an amazing, like a Florida-like Blood Bowl community throughout Tennessee. And I hope that, happens. But yeah, I hope in 2025 we get to go to Tennessee and do a destination Blood Bowl event there. But yeah, but those two events already for 2024 are looming large. The Cornwall trip on the high seas, and then the destination Blood Bowl New Orleans in March. Those are going to be awesome.
Parks, any parting words for the folks at home?
Not much other than may y'all be safe out there. Be blessed with your families, okay?
Appreciate you, Poppy. Thanks for making it a call-in show. You understood the assignment. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Ken.
See you, brother.
See you. All right. Getting towards the end of the show, trying to get Ben to connect again. I know we're dealing with weather issues with Ben's connection, but hopefully we can get him connected.
Well, if y'all can hear or see
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
See you. A little bit of weather over here. I think my internet cutting in and out. So I'll just say, hey, you've been awesome.
I think he's got to recharge his batteries. He's running out of juice.
Hey, it's been awesome.
All
right, Mr. Luft. Wrap us
Carlos,
up.
Thank you as always.
Give us the recap of what's key for the folks at home to know.
Well, the biggest thing for everybody to know is Chaos Cup coming November 4th and 5th to Orlando, Florida for the first time. We got a Friday night icebreaker event run by Sean Cowley. And then we have 220 coaches coming for Chaos Cup 2023. So there's 2 spots open as of right now. There will be a waiting list because life comes up. And as much as people want to attend, sometimes at the last minute they can't. So if you're serious about attending, just drop me a message and ask to get on the waiting list, or go to chaoscup.com, go to the registration page, fill out the registration, and I will add you automatically to the waiting list. But believe me when I tell you, this is a must-attend Blood Bowl tournament, not just for Florida Blood Bowl, but for the North America. So if you can do it, I highly recommend you do it. I could honestly tell you that you're not going to regret it. You're going to have a great time. And I hope to see everybody in November.
Well, just know, folks, it's not over tonight. This is the end of our call-in show, the end of our conversation about Blood Bowl. But our man, Chris Nelson, Florida man, is going to be getting started later this evening on
9 o'clock.
Twitch.
Yep.
9 o'clock Twitch under the Florida Man Friday stream. He's going to be playing some Blood Bowl 3, so switch over there in an hour or so and watch him play some Blood Bowl. If you like this idea of the call-in show, we do this every Thursday night. We take your phone calls on Beans and Dice to talk about board games and other tabletop games and RPGs of your liking. If Blood Bowl's your thing and you want to share it with the nations, we don't get that many viewers. We are international. We have international viewers. But if you want to share it, you just call it on Thursday nights when we do our live call-in show. So that's going to wrap us up for tonight's conversation. Lufty, thank you for joining. I look forward to seeing you at the Stew for the Crew this coming weekend, right? Next weekend.
Saturday, July 1st. Yeah, to be here before we know it.
We will see you there.
Awesome.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks again, Carlos. Good night.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.